Right guys, now I've been waiting to do some videos like this for a while, and I think I'm pretty much at the stage where I can at least talk about this one with you today. Okay, so I'm going to be going through 5 players from the MLS that are worth consideration if you haven't bought them already, and just a little bit of a chat, I guess, MLS style, just to let you know kind of what I've been following the league pretty well over my lifetime. The last couple of years, because of Football Index and football coaching, I haven't been following it as heavily as I have in the past. And I've been really enjoying recently getting back into it and getting, shaking the cobwebs off, getting up to speed. What happened last season again, and what's happened with this guy? Oh, is he still the manager? That kind of stuff. So I'm going to dive in. We're going to go through a few players. I think I maybe own 1 or 2 of them. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, retweet. If you haven't joined SoRare yet and you want a piece of the action, all the links are down below for you to get all the free stuff. Yeah, let's get stuck into it. Now, the first one I want to talk to you about is our boy here, Brian Reynolds. Okay, now on the surface, not too much here. Okay, so he's super cheap, and as you can see up here, there's only 12 in circulation. Okay, he's not went for very much. Okay, now since Reggie Cannon has transferred from Dallas to Boa Vista, this guy stepped up and he's been the #1 right back at the moment. I want to say he's 18 or something like that. Can we jump tabs? Yeah, we can. Brilliant. So at the moment, our boy Brian is 19. I beg your pardon. And he's been starting right back since Reggie went to Portugal. And he's been doing okay. He's only 18. It is his kind of debut season in terms of being probably the #1 choice at the club, And when you look at his results, you can see he's been playing this Atlanta game. He came off the bench, but he's been a part of the squad since Reggie left, and he's been doing pretty well. And for a little right back, Dallas, the thing about Dallas, right? If you don't know MLS, is Dallas have never been DP heavy. Dallas have never been the team that sign anyone on a designated player contract. They very rarely do it. They brought through Weston McKennie, and there's been 1 or 2 other guys over the years that are less well known, you probably don't care about, that have came from Dallas. But this guy, with Reggie just leaving, Reggie Cannon, this guy steps up, and there's a few players in this Dallas squad we could really talk about, but this one, for a SoRare perspective, he is super cheap. Even though I'm touching on him in the video, there's only 12 of them in circulation, so if you're going to try and buy out some of these ones now, there will be a bit of competition because there's only 12 of them available. But when the IPOs and stuff like that as well, especially maybe the super rares and that kind of thing, if that's your kind of bag, you might get this guy quite cheap, because his stats at the moment, he is quite raw, quite young. They're not overly amazing, but you can see the potential there with the 53 against Orlando. The Orlando game itself was a 0-0 draw. He got 90 minutes, he didn't get booked. Goals or shots conceded was like 3, for Dallas, so it was a solid enough game or whatever. So if the guy's getting up and down the line, he's going to be making some assists, some crosses. To get a player, you look at those, out of those 5 games there, 4 of them are starts. To have 2 of them in orange and 2 of them in red for somebody who's 18 is a good little starter card to get you up and running. And he's got a lot of he's got a lot of growth, he's got a lot of room for potential to move forward, and for the potential price you could pick this guy up for, he's definitely one to watch out for. Now, this guy is a little bit of a different proposition. Now, one thing I didn't say about the Dallas situation is they look quite likely for the playoffs. Another team looking quite likely for the playoffs in this situation as well is Minnesota. Now, last time I was kind of paying attention to MLS prior to recent change of events, Minnesota just came in as a new outfit maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, and they were awful. Like, they were so bad. They seem to have got their act together. I don't really know the ins and outs of all of it, to be honest with you, as I speak to you now. But one guy who's been a big part of it is Robin Lodge. Recent signing in from Sporting Gion. Previously been at Panathinaikos, Finland international, looks like we're going to the Euros as well, and he's very well priced on this matrix, in terms of, priced on this matrix, I suppose you could say that. The prices are very modest, to say the least, for how much you can get him for. As I record the video now, there is one up for auction. I don't actually have very much coin left. He's up for 14 hours. When will this video be out? Do you know what? I'm going to try and snipe it. And I'll just put this in. And hey, if we get it, we get it. Why not? Hey, why not, eh? That's about average, isn't it, for about where he is, so hopefully that puts anyone off from thinking they're getting a bargain. But with the 4 Minnesota are in the now, midfielders do pretty well in this matrix. The guy at the moment, he's got 4 goals, in the last 7 games. 4 goals in 7 games for a midfielder is a great return. And how heavily ranked now that goals and etc. are going to be weighted. Having a strong midfielder like this, the prime of his career, 27, he's not a spring chicken, he's not a youth player, you're kind of gambling on will he get minutes, will he perform or not. You know he's going to be playing, you know he's going to be starting. As I scroll back through, you know, his minutes have been very consistent upon arrival. His goals have been pretty good since arrival as well. And yeah, at 27 for the price, you're probably going to be able to pick him up for. Actually, this Robin Lod has been there as I dive in a little bit deeper. No, I suppose it's just the way it's been broken up with MLS's back. If you look at his career, you know, and you break it in, it looks like he's been there 3 seasons, but it's only really one season and a bit because of the COVID and MLS's back tournament and whatever. But yeah, 3 seasons in Greece, 1 season in Spain, a good few years before that at Helsinki, playing Europa League qualifiers and Champions League qualifiers with them. So yeah, solid little guy. And when you're starting your gallery out and you're looking for players to fill out that American lineup, if you like, there's going to be some easy names you can find that are good players, high scorers, that you can spend a couple of quid on. The first 2 I've managed to give you have been nice little bargain basement cheapies. This guy's a little bit more expensive. Nicole Bassett, he's listed this as a midfielder. He's a kind of number 10-ish type player, you know. He's in great form at the moment. And wait to see his kind of output he's had to his scores and whatever. For who he is and for what he is. At the moment, the thing is, right, is the Rapids, I think they got to an MLS final before they signed Tim Howard. And then I think they signed Tim Howard afterwards. They've not really, you know, the Rapids haven't really done much in my memory. They've kind of, you know, say they had they got to an MLS final one year. I think they've kind of flirted with a lot bit of success and never really quite captured it. But this guy's come through the youth system and he's really hit the ground running. The last game they had, it was cancelled for COVID, so the next game week you're going to likely see this guy. I'm expecting a big number out of him because he should be well rested and ready to rock. As you can see with the pricing bands he does go into, he's below quarter coin, which is a nice base for a rare, you know, especially one that's capable of scoring you some good stats. If we click on this, look at that, you know, and it's because this guy is involved in goals, etc. You know, when he's getting minutes and when he's on the pitch, as you can see here, really from game week 94. You know, there's 2 weeks out of that where he's below the 50 mark, you know. Otherwise he's 65, 72, 84, 73, 81. Solid stats. And the guy he's 18, something like that. 19, I beg your pardon. I've done that twice today. So he's 19. A little bit more expensive than our guys we're talking about is SR in particular, because he is 18. That's 1 of 10 as well, so that's always going to have a little bit of a slice on top as well. Some guys have been quite quick to him and got him quite cheap. I recently bought him, don't remember how much I paid off the top of my head. If I see him here, I'll show it. There he's there. Yeah, I paid a little bit more than some of the other guys have to get my hands on him, but very much a card that if you're starting out, especially and you're diving into the MLS, you don't know much about it. Guys like this, you know, look at those. The Dallas game and the Houston game. Dallas game he played 60 minutes and the Houston game he played 16 minutes, you know, so pretty much every game, you know, in that recent form he's been getting 90 minutes and a goal basically. So yeah, lovely little card, and you can get him on the cheap pretty easy. You know, as I say, I don't know just with the way this is recorded if he caught it or not, but the Dallas match there, he only made 60 minutes and then get subbed off. They lost 4-1, and then the Houston game, they drew 1 each, but he only played 16 minutes of it. So if he's playing, the guy's involved in a lot, he's scoring really high, and for the age he's at as well, you've always got that extra little might he get a move to Europe, you know, element. And if he's ranked up and powerful and he is a great player, then you've got an absolute bargain on your hands. Colorado could and should make the playoffs. Let's see what happens on that front. Now this guy has been going pretty cheap recently. I don't know how long that's going to keep up for. Now Jordy Mihailovich is 21. He is American, believe it or not. Even with his very Serbian sounding name. Sounds like who is this Real Madrid striker from back in the day? Mijatovic. And there was a Mihailovic as well, the defender that loved the free kicks. Different spelling right enough, but same pronunciation. And this guy he's an exciting American talent. Chicago, however, have not had a great season. The form is, you know, they might make the playoffs. It's very squeaky. Look at his last couple of results, you know. He's a kind of centre attacking mid, and the form they had was rotten, and you can see his bad scores there as well. But when he's one of the guys, if they're playing well, he's going to be a big part of it. He's going to be scoring. Look at that, 93 he's hit a 81. These are way back, obviously. These will be goals in games. He's Columbus Crew was the 12th of the 9th he scored a goal, so the 12th of September would have been in here. 64 with a goal. It's a 2 each draw. And these other scores, by the way, these two 88s and 86s, he's not had a goal. And yeah, 2-0 win and a 2-2 draw in those games, and he's scored amazingly high on the new matrix. So again, for the kind of price you're looking to get this guy for, I can just flip between back here. He's not going for too much in the grand scheme of things. And again, I think is this the third midfielder we spoke about? We need to get to a forward, I suppose, at some point. He's a little bit more expensive than the first two, certainly, but very affordable, very cheap. And for the sort of player he is, like, he's 21, right? Let's say he doesn't go to Europe, right? Because not every decent American player goes to Europe, right? If you're living on planet Earth. Let's say he stays in the MLS. If he's capable of pulling, you know, out of 36 appearances, a quarter of them are above the 50 mark. That's all you're really after at the end of the day, to try and bag a prize and try and get yourself up that leaderboard. And for the sort of money you're looking to spend on a card like this, especially, you know, some of these have went for nothing, you know. So if you get good timing in terms of when the auction happens and everyone's sleeping or nobody's watching, may even be on a run of bad form, you might get a wee niggly injury, you might miss a match, you know, you might even win them. You know, these guys have 5 days ago. There's a good little solid card to be picking up and help you kind of dip your toe into that MLS pond. Now, I'm not too sure if it's because his name's Mueller that I love the guy, but if you've watched Orlando, and Orlando made their debut season the same year as New York, and I followed New York quite heavily, and because they're in the same conference, they actually played each other a few times, and Orlando had Kaká at the time, so that wasn't too much of a bad watch. You know, NYC had Pirlo and Villa, and they had Kaká. It's okay to watch now and again, you know. So anyway, I've seen bits of Orlando, and this guy Chris Mueller, by the way, is a solid, like, he's kind of like Thomas Mueller in that sense. He's a striker, but he's not a striker. You know, he's good. You can see quite plainly he's not cheap. You know, best market offer at the moment is 0.35. He's an established player in the lineup. Orlando won the MLS's back tournament. What the MLS's back tournament was they basically said, after the COVID shutdown, we're going to come back and do like a cup, but it's not got anything to do with the league the way it started. We will finish that. This is just going to be in a bubble, and they went to Disney World, and you know, they all self-contained and whatever. And Orlando won it. Nani was the star of the show, and this guy played a big part in it as well. And anyway, if you've seen any of that stuff, you'll see that the guy is on great form at the moment, and especially with the matrix changes that we've had. Oh, still on Mihailovich. Because he gets involved in goals, he's a forward. He's going to be involved in assists and that kind of thing as well, but he does run a bit deeper and he will try and get back. You know, he does have these big scores in him now, which is all you're after when it really comes to the tournament side of things. Then he's another one in terms of strikers, because a lot of MLS strikers that you'll naturally gravitate to are going to be expensive, because decent MLS strikers, see, some people are trying to get half a coin for this guy, because the suitability to the matrix that we've got has just went up. But you can get this guy a bit cheaper, I would suspect, quite easily. He's 24 as well. Again, if you take out the whole fantasy of everyone moving to Europe, even if he stays in the MLS, he's still going to be a very worthwhile player. And you only need to look at somebody like Jordan Morris, who's 26, 2 years ahead of this guy, still producing the goods, still hitting big scores, and you know, different players, different types of players. But again, not a ridiculous price point to be finding your striker. And you know, we've not brought a goalkeeper into this, okay? And the real reason for it is there's not that many MLS goalkeepers. If you're looking to start out, I think, you know, any starting goalkeeper is going to be a couple of quid, really. You know, there's no cheap way of getting around it. You can try and get a backup. Somebody like Krepal, I'll give you this one, right? Crep. Now, this guy is like the Canada #2, and he was the Vancouver #1. He's had finger surgery, he's been out forever, and they've played an 18-year-old Thomas Hassel, and they've had another guy come in for Hassel recently as well. Not really too sure the ins and outs of that, if it's rotational or injuries or COVID based or whatever. The thoughts are, this guy, when he's fit, he's #1. You can get him cheap. It's a gamble. I can't really tell if it'll come off or not. The guy Hassel's been okay, but Vancouver are terrible, so it's hard to tell when a goalkeeper's doing good for them or not. So he could be one, a wee sneaky one. But listen, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're new around here and you want to get involved in the SoRare action, links in the description down below. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.